All right, so I got a question about programming for athletes who never have a true off-season, athletes that are always in season. You see this really common at the high school level, even if they don't play multiple sports, if they play a fall, winter, spring sport, and they're always playing. The way the club and travel team world is happening these days is these kids are always playing. The school team, the club team, the travel team, year-round. Some sports are worse than others. But kids are playing year-round, and they don't get a true off-season where they're doing nothing but training for their sport. So how do you program for that? How do you program for athletes who are always in season? This is how you do it. Big one is going to be consistency. Training at least twice a week. If you need to ebb and flow, drop it down to once a week if they have a lot of games, or if they have an off weekend, maybe you get 3 lifts in. But ideally, twice a week is absolutely huge. If you think about it, twice a week for a year straight, you can make fantastic gains with that. Your overall volume for your training is going to be low because their on-field volume is always going to be high, practicing games, tournaments, travel. So we have to offset that. So what we mean by that is about 10 to 20 total sets per session. Right? I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that really does add up, and it really offsets the higher volume on the field. And they're going to be able to make gains with this. It's going to be enough accumulated volume over the long term. Remember, it's not about 1 week or 1 month even. Long term, a year, 2 years, 3 years, their entire middle school, high school career as they develop. I prefer total body design because it's more flexible. You may have 2 lifts planned, but they miss for whatever reason. It's much more flexible, and it's gonna be easier to recover from instead of one body area being any more taxed. Moderate to high intensity on your main lifts in that 70 to 85% range, because that's gonna be enough where they have to put some force into it to move it and get those neural strength gains. And again, lower volume, so about 1 to 3 sets, 1 to 5 reps, lower volume, higher intensity to keep those strength gains going without being too much where they have to recover too much from it. It's not going to make them sore and tired. Assistance work volume is going to be low. 2 to 3 sets, about 5 to 12 reps. You can even do as little as 1 set on their game dense weeks. 1 set of 10, 1 set of 15, just check the box for that movement, and that will be enough over time. It will add up. All right? So how do you measure progress with these? They're not going to have a testing day. They're not going to be pulling 1 rep maxes. They're not going to be pulling rep maxes. So how do you measure progress long term? It's going to be a lot of eyeball testing, but there's some measurements you can do. So some things you're going to see is, 1, movement quality. They're going to be able to move better, squat deeper, much more sharper reps. They're going to move the same weight with much better technique and intent. For example, let's say we do a trap bar deadlift with 135. And a few weeks later, we come back to 135, and they're moving it much faster with much greater intent. It's easier for them. That's progress. That's stronger. They're producing more force, right? That's a measure of strength gains. They're able to handle it better. Weight increases. Let's say in week 1, you do 2 sets of 10 on a dumbbell row with 20 pounds. Let's say you come back to it in week 8, they do the same 2 sets of 10, but with 30 pounds, right? That's a 10-pound increase for the same sets and reps for the same exercise, right? That's a measure of strength gains, right? They've gained 33% strength in their dumbbell row. That's progress. They're stronger, right? Or things like your jumps and throws. They're jumping on higher boxes. They're throwing the same weighted ball with better speed. Or they're able to jump on a higher box or throw a heavier ball for the same speed. Or if you're able to track measurements like flying tens, timed sprints, vertical jumps, if you have a jump mat or something like that, you're going to get those types of measurements. So some of it's going to be coach's eye or eyeball testing. Some of it's going to be trackable and measurable if you have the means to do it. And also feedback. That I feel better, I feel faster, I feel stronger. And they'll look the part. They'll build muscle, maybe get leaner. It's going to be a lot of coach's eye things if you don't have the means to measure things with technology or other devices. But also remember, if they're playing multiple sports or they're always training year-round, they're probably coming to you untrained. They've never lifted before. So think about it. They're coming from nothing. Even if they only do once or twice a week, think about that year. If they're coming from 0 and they're able to accumulate 80 to 100 workouts, That's still a lot more than what they've done. You think if they're able to do 80 to 100 workouts a year directly under a coach's supervision, they're going to make progress coming from nothing? Absolutely. So just because they can only do a little bit, they can still make fantastic progress. Remember, they're coming from nothing. Would it be better if they had a direct offseason? Yeah, it would. But you don't need to either. You do the best you can with what you get. And this is a really good formula to make that happen. So to sum it up, keep it consistent, keep the intensity moderately high, move some weight, keep the total volume low, and be patient. Watch for those coaches' eye measurements progress as they continue to train with you, and zoom out 3 months, 6 months, a year, 4 or 6 years over their middle school, high school, early college career, whatever it is. Zoom out, the workouts will add up, they'll get better, even if they're always in season. That's how you do it.